Toys to life. They suck. Toys to Life is a type of game that consists of somebody paying £10 to £50 for a game and then spending double on cheap pieces of plastic. One toy, please. As you probably know, the first Toys to Life game was released in 2007. Yep, the first ever Toys to Life game was a game called UB Funkies and was released in 2007 by Mattel for the PC, or as the old people say, the personal computer. Wait, it says in the script that the first Toys to Life game came out in 2007. This can't be right. So let's see what Wikipedia has to say about UB Funkies. Okay, now that we have the information about the first Toys to Life game out of the way, let's move on to the one and only Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. By the way, Spyro's name is in the title simply for brand recognition and nothing more. I mean, after the first Skylanders game, Spyro wasn't really used that much. They knew that it would sell even more copies if the silly purple dragon was in your face. Wait, what are we talking about? Oh yes, Skylanders. So I'm going to be very brief with this because there are many other videos going over the development of this game, and also, does this channel look serious to you? But anyway. Skylanders Spyro's Adventure is a 2011 video game developed by Toys for Bob and published by Activision for Windows, Nintendo 3DS, OS X, PlayStation 3, Wii, Wii U, and Xbox 360. The main gimmick of the game was using toy character figures on the plastic portal of power, which glows, and then playing as said toy characters in the actual game. This blew my mind when I was younger, but obviously the feeling of magic has somewhat faded. I mean, they are literally plastic toys with NFC chips in them. Sorry kids if you somehow never knew that and I just ruined it for you, but the intro cutscene depicting how they got turned into toys is not real. Sorry for ruining that for all of you, so let's just move on to the gameplay of Skylanders Spyro's Adventure. The gameplay consists of you controlling the character figure of your choice in the magical world of Skylands, talking to lots of characters such as Flynn, and beating up enemies by... The main goal of the game is to beat the villain, the evil Chaos, who wants to take over Skylands by destroying the core of light to help spread the darkness. I think. The game has extra chapters by placing adventure pack figures on the portal, as well as the 22 main story chapters that you unlock one after the other, as well as many other extra side missions and collectibles found in the levels. Oh yeah, and the 2-player battle mode and nightmare mode, which offers many hours of fun and deaths. Okay, I know I missed a lot, but there's a lot of Skylanders videos that explain this better and more, so, you know, like I said, I'm just trying to be brief. So, let's move on to the next game. So, only 1 year later, the next Skylanders game was released. Skylanders Big. Skylanders Giants released for Nintendo 3DS, PS3, Wii, Xbox 360 and Wii U, and it wasn't that much different from the first game visually and gameplay wise. Well, other than big. Okay, it did have some noteworthy differences. This game introduced the giant figures that glowed when placed on the portal, and to this day I still don't really know how they do that. This game also introduced light core figures. These figures were slightly different versions of normal characters, as these figures would also glow and they would deal surrounding damage to enemies for one time only.
Light core.
The figures were also shown in a different pose like the Series 2 figures. Oh yeah, Series 2 figures are returning characters from the first game, which actually do still work in Spyro's Adventure if they were introduced in that game, and this applies to Series 3 and 4 figures. So I could use Series 4 Gilgrunt in Spyro's Adventure, but he would just appear as a normal version. Series 2 also had what's known as a Wow Pow attack, which is a final upgrade that characters can get, which is usually mighty powerful. There was also a different setup story-wise. Chaos discovers the discount Infinity Gauntlet to rule over an Archean robot army. So, using your big plastic toys, you must take down Chaos with matching large giant attacks. There's not much to say with this one because it just feels like an add-on for Spyro's Adventure turned into a full-blown sequel. Even the same adventure packs from the first game are still compatible, there's no new ones. But even with that, this is probably my personal favourite Skylanders game. It's the one I played the most when I was younger, and I remember the levels being even more creative and fun to roam through. Like that level where you switch between the fake and real worlds. What was it again? Oh yeah, Willican Village. The music was somehow even better and just as magical and bombastic sounding as the first. I mean, the final boss music for this game slaps, as well as the first game. The music literally makes me feel like I'm in the game. I mean, at that level, Drill X's Big Rig, that boss was rapping to the stage's music, and it was so insane for a boss fight. I kinda love it. But yeah, Skylanders Giants wasn't that much different from the first in terms of gameplay and overall feel, now that I look back on it. But it's still my personal favourite game in the franchise, and it's just good, okay? Moving on. So, another year of course meant another Skylanders game. Trust me, they're not stopping for a while yet. I mean, Skylanders made so much money for Activision that they gotta keep them coming. So this is the game I'm probably going to spend the most time talking about, as there is a lot more material here. 2013 saw the game Skylanders Swap Force for Nintendo 3DS, PlayStation 3, Wii, Wii U, Xbox 360, and Xbox One and PS4. It definitely took a more unique approach to the franchise with the whole swapping characters top and bottom parts gimmick, which allowed many opportunities for creations that were definitely not cursed or weird. But it still did not completely trash the formula that the first two games followed. This game was developed by a developer called
Vicarious Visions!
Not Toys for Bob. The reason that they did this was so that they can get the game out on a yearly basis for that. I mean, when you see how much Skylanders grossed financially, it's expected to see a new installment every year, which is kind of what helped kill the Skylanders franchise, which we'll talk about later. Anyway, this game was very different in many ways. The levels were much larger, to the point where the Wii version splits the levels into a second part after a checkpoint. Also, I was one of those poor souls who had the Wii version of Swap Force growing up, and yeah, it wasn't great. However, the game looked amazing on the PS4 and Xbox One, and hell, even the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions looks really nice. That's one thing Swap Force really improved on, the graphics. If you compare the Xbox 360 version of Giants to the Xbox 360 version of Swap Force, the difference is night and day. The game also added a lot of side missions to the levels themselves, such as the swap zones. So if you look, this Swap Force figure has something on it, and that thing is the special ability that they have. They have many abilities like climbing, flying, digging, etc. And you also get special rewards for completing the special zones. Also, the story this time around is that Chaos uses evilized crystals to make everything else turn evil, including the ancient elementals that make the magic volcano replenish the magic in Skylands. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention that also applies to Giants. All Skylanders figures, most Skylanders figures, are forward compatible, Now for all the less knowledgeable ones watching, that means that an old ass figure from the first game will work in, say, Skylanders Imaginators. Which, don't worry, we'll get to that game later. Oh, and another thing I forgot, because I'm a forgetful sod. Skylanders can purchase upgrades in all of the games to make them either quote unquote more powerful or straight up overpowered. Okay, I don't really know how else to analyze this game. It's a good game. Okay, it's good. Alright, okay, moving on. Alright, bye. Look, I'm sorry, okay, I just like the Trap Team title screen music so much that I just have to play the whole thing, alright? I promise I'm not going to do that for the rest of the video. Skylanders Trap Team was the next game released in 2014 and was back to being developed by good old Toys for Bob for the same platforms I've mentioned prior. Now, I'm going to be brutally honest, I've never properly played or owned this game. I know, sue me. I've only played it at a friend's house, so I may get some... Actually, no, I'm going to get probably everything wrong here. I'll try and sum it up in a way for my stupid 0 IQ brain to understand. So, Trap Team's main mechanic is trapping villains into the portal and then being able to play as said villains for a short time. Wait, so that means you can catch Chaos? Oh wait, you can play as Chaos. Cool, wow. I've always wanted to play as the villain who can't even get on his portal properly. There was also the new Trap Masters, which were basically the main figures for this game. Trap Masters have large weapons made out of Traptanium. These Traptanium weapons are the only thing that can destroy the Traptanium shards scattered around the game. Again, I have never really played this game, so if you want to be mad at me for that, then go nuts. I don't care. Now, Skylanders Trap Team is also infamous for being one of the most glitchy as hell games in the whole franchise. Just search Trap Team glitches and you'll see many videos to enjoy from afar.
Rising star!
I guess the effect of rushing these games out on a yearly basis really started to show here. So yeah, Trap Team is still looked back on with positivity, even with the amount of glitches, and the fact that the Wii version was somehow even worse than Swap Force on the Wii. In fact, one of my friends thinks it's the best game in the franchise. Now for Skylanders Superchargers. Released in 2015 by Vicarious Visions again. For the same platforms, this game's main gimmick was... driving. Yeah, that was kinda it. Basically Mario Kart, but with Skylanders in funny cars. The driving was split into 3 types, land, sky and sea, and you get 3 stars at the end of a main level if you complete all the vehicle sections within them. However, you'll always have the land star, as that is required to complete the main levels. This makes Superchargers the easiest game to get 3 stars on a level in my opinion. Land is the main type of vehicle and you can upgrade the other vehicles including land, and add parts to them to make them more powerful, faster, and all that jazz. But yeah, the completion stars at the end of a level makes it the easiest game to get 3 stars in, as in prior games you needed to backtrack to play the levels over again to be in a certain time limit or finding all the collectibles and all that other stuff. There was also many other collectibles that you could put in the Skylanders Academy, which was the main hub for this game and Trap Team, and I always loved just aimlessly running around it for ages, all while that chill music played. The Academy also included places to practice using that shiny new vehicle you got your parents to buy you after much begging. Also, I only mentioned it as a caption in the Giants section of this video, but remember Skystones? Well, it's back! Now called Skystones Overdrive. Just to quickly go over the rules of normal Skystones, you have a deck of stones that you obtain throughout the game or winning a game of Skystones. They have a set number of spikes called blades on a certain side. The opponent plays first and will place a stone of their choice on the board. Then you pick a stone to place on the board. The number of blades is important, as if you have more blades pointing on the opponent's stone, then you can essentially steal it and claim it as your own. Do that and you get a point. The player with the most stones filled on the board at the end is the winner. Overdrive is pretty different, however. 2 players have a deck of Sky Stones to play with. At the start of the game, 2 players have a set amount of health. The player's health starts at 30. However, when playing against a computer player, the opposing player's starting health is dependent on the difficulty you're playing on. Beginner is 20, Adventurer is 30, Expert is also 30, and Nightmare is 40. Yeah, you basically just take turns to deplete each other's health, and whoever gets mowed down is the loser, and the other player wins. You get the gist of it once you play it. One thing that was weird to me as a kid, but each level in Superchargers had several chapters within them. Contrast this to the older games where each chapter was one whole level. Guess it's just a way to say Superchargers had like 52 chapters. Now on to the story of this one. Superchargers also has a sole racing mode, and the Wii version of this game is just the racing. I mean, it's literally called Skylanders Superchargers Racing. And I guess that's actually a good thing that they did that, because the Wii was just slightly less powerful than the next gen consoles. Okay, I'm gonna just rush through this last section, as I've never made a script this long and I have so many other video ideas in the works, so let's just get through this already. We can do this. So, Skylanders Imaginators is the last game in the series, and I can say that with total confidence, as Toys to Life games were milked to death back in the day. And this is the game that basically signaled the end of Skylanders as we know it. I mean, Disney Infinity, Lego Dimensions, blah blah blah, yeah, it was all milked for all it was worth. So, Imaginators finally made Skylanders fans' dream come true. The gimmick was you can make your own custom characters with creation crystals. You can't erase the creation crystals unless you stick it to Skylanders Giants. It was the shortest game in the series with only 10 chapters. It introduced the Sensei figures, which were basically the powerful Imaginators figures, much like how the Giants were the powerful figures of their respective game. It had Crash Bandicoot! This game is amazing! Okay. Alright. Now, let's just close the video. So yeah, Skylanders, huh? Would I say it was plastic with power? I mean, they certainly had the power to screw your parents' wallets back in the day. While I do think this franchise lent hard into toy sales and being really repetitive gameplay-wise, I still love these games and I have a lot of fond memories playing them as a little kid. But damn it, these figures are useless when I'm not playing Skylanders, so I need to clear a bit of space.